stories that are making the headline. The first story that we have is, of course, the fuel increase. If you went to the pumps today, you would have bought diesel for 23 cedis and petrol for 18 cedis. That's scary. We'll do the analysis for you here on Eyewitness News. Also, Valco workers are on strike. The reason is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Tonight, I'm here with
Shika.
and coming up over the next 90 minutes, the price of fuel appears to be the most uncontrollable of the economic challenges as diesel sells for 23 cedis per litre and petrol climbs to 18 cedis at the pumps. The MPA appears helpless.
The prices are beginning to come down because this window in which we are, we saw a reduction.
As the NPA CEO, who spoke some time back, will be hearing from the National Petroleum Authority tonight here on Eyewitness News. Also coming up, Ghana's 55-year-old aluminium smelting plant, Valco, shuts down again, this time because young workers in the company want the old and retired workers to go home. And later on Eyewitness News.
Barber of a sort, but that barber will be scammed whether it affects domestic investment or domestic instruments. We are giving you only 14 days from today
to get a haircut on your investments or not. The minority says it would happen in 14 days from now, despite the emphatic position taken by the government on the matter. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
the Ghana Union of Traders Association calls for the enforcement of investment laws to curb the high rate of importation of goods.
That's Netili Neti of the Citi Business Desk with the world's latest business news here on Eyewitness. The show is live across the globe on citinewsroom.com. Around Ghana, we are on a number of affiliate stations, including Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalerigo. We are also in Upper West on Ganga 94.3 FM in Jirapa. Go to the Upper East region, we are on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. Radio Gaki on 88.3 FM in Saboba in the northern region is carrying this broadcast for you. Go to the Volta region, we are on Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe, Freedom 88.1 FM in Sugakopa. If you go to the Ashanti region, we are on Adwinpa 99.9 FM in Nkawia. In the Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. And in the Western region, we are live on Adwinpa 100.7 FM in Takwa. In Takradi, we are on 2 stations, including Beach 105.5 FM and Sky Power 93.5 FM. Let me know what you make of the big stories we are bringing you tonight. On WhatsApp, the number to send your message to is 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Let's settle for details of our stories now. And the first one has to do with how much you pay at the fuel pumps effective today. Now, diesel has gone up to 23 cedis if you went to the pumps to buy fuel today, and petrol is at 18 cedis also. Now, this is the latest in the announcement that has come up here in the Republic of Ghana following the challenges with the economy. Now, Shika has a story for us.
Right, Sanda, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has announced the suspension of the subsidy on the residual fuel oil effective today. The move, the NPA explains, is in line with a directive from the Ministry of Energy as part of efforts to ease the financial burden on the price stabilization recovery account.
Indeed, and that's just a fallout that we'll be hearing about, a decision that has been taken by the National Petroleum Authority. But first, Nashika, tell us about the hike in petroleum products and what the NPA has been saying on that.
The National Petroleum Authority has explained that all marketing companies have been given room to continually increase prices at the pumps in order to avert a shortage of petroleum product. Fuel is currently selling at a minimum of 17 cedis, while diesel sells at a minimum of 22 cedis for the first pricing window of November. However, some oil marketing companies adjusted their prices even before the pricing window, In an interview with Citi News, the Director of Communications at the NPA, Mohammed Abdul Kudus, indicated that the oil marketing companies were left with no options following the constant depreciation of the Ghana cedi.
Given the fact that the products are actually bought from the world market in dollar, anytime the dollar changes, it affects the character of the pricing. And so, yes, we ought to have been operating with the 2-window framework or 2 weeks window framework. But because of the volatility of the cedi against the dollar and the fact that you ought to be guaranteeing a certain return on investment from the end of the supplier, you ought to be a little flexible with what previously was established or has been established to be the windows within which the prices are supposed to vary. So yes, we saw prices go up within the same window more than once. It is basically the case of the behavior of the cedi and the dollar and the need to protect the investment of the supplier.
Right. Before we go into the various variables, I mean, the components itself, i.e., the world market prices, the depreciation of the cedi, and the taxes and the levies. A quick observation we made. I mean, I'm bringing this in because you mentioned the 2 pricing windows, where some OMCs really made the adjustments before the pricing window. Some also delayed, made the adjustments after the 2 pricing windows. Did this observation come to your notice, and what's your take on this?
Yes, so like I said, yes, we actually made the observation, and the Economic Regulation Department that primarily is charged with the responsibility of regulating how the prices are determined, equally took notice of same. But like I said, because of the volatility, if we wanted to get the players to stick to the 2 weeks window benchmark that we've actually put in for ourselves, what it means is that we might be experiencing some shortage because some of them might not be able to go and bring the product. But we needed to, first of all, guarantee the availability of the product in the market. And in guaranteeing that, we ought to situate what is it that is affecting their pricing. Then we'll be able to agree whether they should go by it or not to go by it. So yes, it came to our notice. Yes, we knew that the 2-window virtually has not been strictly followed, but seized by the factors that was informing their pricing, we were sure and confident that nothing was being done untoward. Because primarily the Act says that we should protect the investment of the suppliers, we should protect the expected revenue that is supposed to go to government, and we should protect the customer from being overcharged.
That's Mohammed Abdul Kudus. He's Director of Communications at the National Petroleum Authority. And let me say that over the past few months, we've not been successful in hearing from the CEO of the NPA himself on these matters. A lot of the times, this is deferred to the technical team and the communication team at the NPA to speak to us. Indeed, when our team went to the NPA today, they managed to speak to Mohammed Abdul Kudus, who has given this clarification. There's more from what he's been saying. I'll be sharing that with you. But let me just quickly go on the phone lines and speak to someone who understands our energy sector more than many, former CEO of the Volta River Authority, Dr. Charles Reku Brobe. He joins us on the line. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. I believe we are almost sounding like a broken record now, but speak we must. And that's because I'm not sure petroleum doesn't like noise either. But what seems to be the problem aside the cedi issue? Could it be that the war that is happening in Ukraine is still what is affecting us here? Or, like you have always been insisting, the government taxes ought to go so we can have reprieve at the pumps?
Well, look, the real problem is the forex rate, whether we should compare the or what. If you bought fuel at the beginning of the year, you probably pay about 5 or 6 cedis per liter. Nothing has changed, but because the exchange rate has deteriorated by over 100 to 200%, In dollar terms, maybe the cost is the same, but in city terms, you are paying 2.5, 3 times the price. Unfortunately, people here don't earn salaries that are dollar denoted or dollar linked. So it is really affecting the common person, but also affecting business because we do not have river transportation. We do not have a well-developed railway network all over the country. So everything moves by road. So you cannot expect that I may go to Umaru's hometown and buy some tomatoes there very cheaply and ferry to Accra at these very expensive fuel costs and still be able to sell it at a very cheap rate. Unless we are really prepared to accept that transportation and therefore fuel costs at the pump, it's what drives this economy, then we are going to live with inflation and the like for many, many more years.
Okay.
But apart from the, go on.
You land.
No, you could go on.
Because you're going to say that aside that, which means you're going to add
Yeah.
something. I said apart from that, there were other things you wanted to do.
At the moment, there is a kind of a jungle market going on in the fuel pricing.
And this is a global jungle market, not local, right?
No, I'm talking about local jungle market. Deregulation works because we have set up the windows by which price changes will be announced. There are 2 changes for every month. But really more important than that, the MPA as the regulator is supposed to ensure that it announces what are called maximum retail prices so that no consumer gets cheated by the oil marketing companies. Right now, it has reneged on its duty and given it to COPEC, which ironically is supposed to be representing the interest of consumers, but doesn't. It is now the chief cheerleader for marketing companies who just keep announcing prices nilly-willy. So even the windows have gone off. So people will announce prices 1 week before a window, and then when the window comes, they will increase the price again. That's not the way the deregulation was set up. It just keeps piling the pressure on. And the reason why I say the Russia-Ukraine is not really a factor, yes, oil prices have gone up. But we also, as oil exporter, we do make windfall profits. We are set up to raise 100 cedis from our oil sales at $50. At now $90, $100, we are going to get 200 cedis. So there's windfall profit of 100%. If we are disciplined people and we cut the excess profligate expenditure, we should be in a position also to use some of the windfall profit to moderate and stabilize petroleum prices so that there's certainty in what is going on. But no, it looks like people are only interested in how much revenue can be taken from the windfall profits and given into government coffers because there is no stop on the excessive expenditure. So, yes, Russia-Ukraine is causing a trouble. It's made global oil prices go up. But global oil prices, the problem is that the government pass on all the costs onto us consumers. So prices are adjusted to reflect the current global oil prices. But the windfall profit, nobody wants to talk about it. And then somebody says, I feel your pain. You cannot feel the pain of Ghanaians when you run 60 strong SUV convoys to travel around the country.
I get the point you're trying to make there. Let's return to the issue of deregulation. And I must admit that you are one of the brains behind deregulation. So I believe you understand it better than everybody or anybody because you started that whole idea. However, you may not be fair to the OMCs when you say that they should just fold their arms and wait for a certain window to be announced at a certain time.
We have not changed the law. We have not changed the law.
Yeah, but we have not changed the law. But also don't forget,
please,
it's business, isn't it?
we have a regulator. I'm not, why is the regulator making sure either to change the law? You see, because you don't know. Everybody just goes and says, I bought my dollars at such and such a price, therefore I can change my price. No, that even in developed economies, there are, trigger points and regulated areas. You cannot have a cowboy. I know you're a cowboy journalist, but you can't have a cowboy market in terms of and call it deregulation.
Yeah, but Doc, if it is an open free market, I have OMCA.
But it is not supposed to be an open free market. That's why we said changes happen through two windows.
Doesn't deregulated mean the government doesn't have control on how much you sell?
The government does not have control, but the government gives a guidance by saying that you cannot, because of these changes, the petrol must not cost more than this.
Okay. But Doc, if you own Tarzan fuel and the government says don't let petrol cost more than this, but you know how much you lifted it for and what the other charges there are on it, you can disregard the government and say, listen, if I listen to the government's window, my business will collapse.
No, we are in a jungle. Some may collapse. When we started deregulation, we used to hold tenders for BDCs to bid to supply to the MPA, so that those who won the tenders were giving dollars by the Bank of Ghana to bring in the fuel. You now got a free-for-all jungle. Any 2x4 BDC says, I'm bringing in fuel for this and that and that. We cannot. The interest of the consumers is paramount. And you cannot sit here telling me OMC cannot bound by price, and then you spend hours on your radio and TV network talking about transport prices going up and there being moderation and the transport unions not, why should they be bound by moderated prices when nobody is moderating the rises in fuel costs?
Okay, but I also still want you to appreciate the fact that this is someone's private business, and that if that private business is affected by
business, even in developed countries, works under regulation.
Is it your suggestion that
free for all is not mean that everybody does what they want?
Okay,
law and order is even in the. If you go to America, it is all private, but government agencies which set the contextual environment in which business is carried out. There's nothing like free for all, and I've gone and gotten my fuel, and therefore I can change prices any second and all of that. There is a law. If the law is not working, and I'm saying that when we started, it was very easy. You needed to do for 3 or 4 BDCs because they tendered, and those who won were giving money to supply the fuel. You are now dealing with 36 all BDCs, all scrambling to get dollars. It doesn't work like that.
Doc, is it your suggestion?
20 times. It's not a suggestion.
No. So let me put the question through. Is it your suggestion that currently, based on all the analysis on the ground, a liter of diesel should not cost 23 cedis, and that this is because of perhaps profiteering by the OMCs?
I have not done any analysis, but I can tell you that what they are doing is that it's being priced by the most expensive dollar that is bought by an OMC. Not the most efficient, but the most expensive. Economics of scale suggest that if one BDC is well resourced, supply a whole lot of fuel, it is bound to get at a cheaper cost, and it is then being held by Bank of Ghana, is bound to be at a better exchange rate. But right now, what is happening is that you take the inefficient Umaru Sanda oil company who buys from the Abuchi at the black market, and then that becomes the rate at which forecourt pricing is being done. Sorry, we really need to take a handle on this.
All right. I noticed too that you have a difficulty with the work NP is supposed to do. Granted, but how can you control what you don't import and own? I mean, we have the bust there, maybe we can dictate to boss what to be brought, how much it should be sold for, and maybe goil to a large extent. But NPA, and for that matter, the government of Ghana has no control on.
The regulator, please. MPA. Why do you call them regulators if they can't do anything? Then just dissolve them. Why call them regulators? They are to make sure that the interests of the consumer and the business are both protected. You can't have it one way. I heard the tail end of your interview with somebody else who was throwing his hands up in the air saying, we can't do anything. Sorry. Then close down the regulation and let's stop pretending.
Finally, you are a statesman. You've listened to the president address a gamut of issues affecting the economy. I would just want to ask for your take before you let go of us.
Yeah, I feel your pain. That was good. But there was nothing announced specifically to deal with easing of our pain.
You're suggesting there wasn't anything in that speech on Sunday night?
I was top pressy. I summarized it.
I'll let you leave it here. Thank you, Doc, for speaking to us.
Okay. All right, Umaru.
That's Dr. Charles Reku Brobe, former VRA CEO, and speaking to us there on specific issues relating to the petroleum downstream sector, how much we are paying for fuel, and why he thinks the NPA could be the rescuer in these moments, where he thinks that fuel stations are operating as though this was a jungle and unregulated industry. Before him, we're listening to a submission made by Mohammed Abdul Kudus. He's Director of Communication at the NPA. He was speaking to my colleague Nana Tufo Boatin of the Citi newsroom. Let's conclude and hear what his concluding comments are on the issues surrounding fuel prices.
By the supplier. And so we normally would be mindful of these variables and make sure that at least everybody stays within the line and everybody is satisfied at the end of the day. So yes, we're aware, but we needed to let the situation be because of the exigencies of the times that we have found ourselves in.
Is this sustainable, and does this not create an avenue for some, for want of a better word, unscrupulous OMCs to take advantage of?
I suspect what we're seeing today is not going to be with us forever. It is just probably a bad wind out there that is just blowing, and it would go so that things would normalize. And where we're able to guarantee a certain stability of the CD, where the suppliers can have a certain predictability of its character in future, then the 2 weeks window can't be brought back again. Like I said, it is not as though the 2 weeks window has been completely taken away, but it's just that we're mindful of the exigencies of the time. And then, so let me even give this information. Previously, they used to take the product literally on credit, then come back and pay for it. But now they are supposed to pay cash. And the cash is supposed to be benchmarked against the dollar. So at any time the dollar changes, the pricing changes. And if you don't allow them to reflect the change at the pump, they would be losing their investment. And when they are losing their investment means that they might be out of business. And when they are out of business, will not have the product in their market to go and buy. For a lot of us, and I think that is the motivation of NPA particularly, it is better to have the product out there than not to have it at all, and people would be scrambling for it, given the very important role that we all know petroleum products play to the economy of Ghana.
All right, now let's look at the variables that we established earlier. Let's start off with the prices on the world market. We all know what's happening globally, but let's look at the WTI. If my worry or my observation is that when there is a drop in the WTI, it does not necessarily reflect at our pumps here. Could this be that drop only offsets the depreciation of the CD here locally and therefore leads to an increase in the price?
In fact, that's an interesting one. I remember in a program that we had with journalists in Oho, we actually went to have a sensitization on how pricing is actually arrived at. And this same thing was actually asked whether we ever get reduction.
That's Mohammed Abdul Kudus. He's Director of Communications at the National Petroleum Authority. And talking about the NPA, it has made an announcement on the suspension of subsidy on residual fuel oil, RFO, effective 1st November 2022. The statement says the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, wishes to advise the industry of the suspension of the subsidy on RFO effective 1st November 2022 and to further notice the suspension of the policy to subsidize RFO is in line with directive from the Ministry of Energy as an interim measure to ease the financial burden on the price stabilization and recovery account. The policy directive takes into consideration the growing concern about the sustainability of the account to meet under recovery payment obligations for premixed fuel and RFO. You are hereby informed that the NPA will continue to compute and announce the price build-up of RFO for each pricing window as it has always done to industry. Please take note of the above and be guided accordingly. That's a statement signed by Mustafa Abdul Hamid, PhD, Chief Executive of the NPA, and is addressed to a number of other industry agencies in the petroleum downstream sector. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are broadcasting from Adabraka in Accra. When we return, we'll go to Valco, where workers there are divided. So there's a group of workers that wants another group to go home. They say that this group that they're asking to go home consists of members who are retired but still clinging on to their offices, and this includes managers. If that would fail to happen, the work would also fail to continue. They demonstrated yesterday. Today, the plant has been shut down. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Alande, me say Alande.
Adepen Alande.
Gonna pay Alande.
Hey, finally, gonna pay Alande.
Do more your way on Ghana Pay. Send and receive money at zero transaction fees. Pay bills, buy airtime and data. Transfer money in and out of your bank account and so much more with Ghana Pay. Dial *707# to register for Ghana Pay or download the Ghana Pay app from the Play Store or App Store.
Alande. Ghana pay Alande.
Ghana Pay. Your money, your way.
This service is powered by Gibbs.
Ayami, if I say EGL Bazaar, say it be Bazaar. Electroland Ghana Limited is running a tech sale all-you-can-grab bazaar. Items are a mixture of brand new, slightly used, scratched, showroom display, repaired and dented. Get up to 80% off. EGL Bazaar runs from Friday to Sunday. That is
on the 4th, 5th and 6th November.
From 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. Location, Coca-Cola Roundabout, Spintex. Satisfy your tech hunger with products from Nasco, Samsung, Media, Toshiba, and more. Samsung television at 1,199 Ghana City. Grab a Nasco top-load washing machine, 6 kg, 1,299 Ghana City. Media toaster, 399 Ghana City. Grab for yourself smartphones, accessories, candlelights, washing machines, fridges, ovens, gas stoves, vacuum cleaner, dispenser. Quickly jot down the numbers. Call 0242 439 437.
EGL, home of electronics and appliances.
If your landlord say come up for house, so you...
Hey, Ifwa, is what I'm hearing true?
What are you hearing?
Where are my nephews?
Gone to school.
Gone to school where?
UK. Uncle Kofi, what's all this about?
Hey, so you have money to send your children abroad and you refuse to help me with my shop, no be so?
Oh, Uncle Kofi, you know that is not true. Whenever I spoke to you about First National Bank, you brushed me off. They opened my eyes to how I could use this building to access more cash. I missed out on Yoho, so I decided not to miss out on Build Up 2022.
Are you a homeowner who requires money for an urgent need? Build Up offers up to 1.5% reduction in your interest rate when you apply for equity release. Call First National Bank today on 0800 770 522 or 0242 435 050 to get started. First National Bank, Bank of the Changeables. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We're broadcasting from Adabraka in Accra. The big story we're bringing you tonight is that the price of petroleum products, diesel has gone up to 23 cedis, and petrol has gone up to 18 cedis at the pumps, and we've been getting reactions to that. Your comments have been coming through. Honorable Adamu Tawakilu He's former member of Parliament for Damongo and heavily involved in energy matters when he was in the House of Parliament. He sends a message and says, the deregulation practice in Ghana is not total deregulation but price modulation. NPA therefore still sets the ceiling that petroleum prices should not exceed. He says NPA is to ensure that no OMC exceeds the ceiling price. So just corroborating what Dr. Charles Rukubrobe Tarzan had said a short while ago. Benjamin Inashaman says, if our economic circumstances are dependent entirely on the vagaries of market forces, and government obviously looks and sounds helpless, then trust me, given the opportunity, any Ghanaian can become president, BOG governor, or finance minister without the need to possess any qualifications whatsoever. I'm so disappointed in our current national leadership. Master Paul from Boko says, isn't it clear now that the president and his so-called excellent ministers have lost the economic battle already? Can't they just do as the honest by resigning so competent hands can take over the affairs of our country? Indeed, fewer too doesn't like noise. Hashtag Eyewitness News. Christian Ameko from Kpong says, please, what is really going on in the oil industry in the country? I have to finally park my car and trek. I can't even buy from the boys who sell at the roadside. Daniel Akpaliok from Sandema says, the manner in which fuel prices are skyrocketing in the country is simply amazing. For how long can we continue to suffer economic hardship, high fuel prices, and the galloping inflation? The economy of Ghana is now on a wheelchair. Government must do something to ameliorate this hardship. Baba Chairman in Tamale says, times are really hard and rough and tough. This is the time leadership must be shown. Ghanaians by nature are very accommodating and tolerant, and our leaders should not take these noble features for granted. But I believe these too shall pass. Zilis Dwayne in London says, what is the solution for the economic hardship? Always government blaming COVID and Russia war, etc. Disappointed in this government. They have failed us. Aziz Donla in Wa East says the economic hardship in the country is real. The MPA is indeed helpless, hence the increasing nature of the product. The 4 more we voted for, he says. Raphael in Jirapa in Upper West says, good evening, Umaru. Nana Akufo-Addo needs to be shown the exit with immediate effect. Just imagine 18 cedis per litre at the pump. How did we get here as a nation? Daniela Tia from Dansoman says, good evening, Umaru. The duty bearers must act on this uncontrollable fuel price before it gets out of hand. The hardship in the country is real. Let me know what you think as well. Send your message to 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let me just share with you some more on the situation with our petroleum prices, the product of the petroleum product, and how much we've been selling them or buying them at the pumps over the past few months. So the citinewsroom.com has done an infographic on the cost of fuel over the past few months from June till now. In June, we bought, so the first pricing window of for petrol said it was, so a liter was to go for 10 cedis, 10 pesos. And then the second pricing window was 10 cedis, 99 pesos. So I'll use the second pricing window. In July, a liter of petrol cost us 11 cedi 30 pesos. So in June, it was 10 cedi 99 pesos. In July, it was 11 cedi 30 pesos. In August, a liter of petrol was 11 cedis 15 pesos. In September, a liter of fuel was 10 cedi 95 pesos. So this reduced by 5 pesos. And then in October, it went up to 13 cedis 10 pesos. And now we are in November. And you've heard the new figure there, 18 cedis. So that is for petrol. Let's look at diesel. And the price for diesel in June, diesel was selling for 13 cedis 50 pesos per liter. In July, it climbed up to 13 cedis 95 pesos. In August, the figure went up to reduced to 13 cedis 46 pesos. In September, the liter of diesel was selling for 14 cedis 50 pesos. In October, it climbed up to 15 cedis 99 pesos. And today, November 1st, it is 23 cedis 49 pesos. That's how much a liter of diesel now costs. And a liter of petrol is 17 cedis 99 pesos which is a peswa shy of 18 cedis, and the peswa can't buy anything in the traffic at Kaneshi First Light. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's move on to some other stories. It has to do with the Volta Aluminium Company, Valco. Nashika.
The Volta Aluminium Company, Valco, has shut down its operations following agitations by its workers over their demands for a salary restoration equivalent to the dollar rate. Workers at Valco currently receive their salaries in dollars but are paid a Citi equivalent. However, because the Citi has depreciated drastically to the dollar, they want the company's management to peg their salaries to the dollar rate.
We'll go to that story, but that will be after this break. Please stay with us here. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Charlie, some things can be very painful, like hitting your toe against the corner of a table. Or a failed cash transaction because of insufficient funds. But that's where Vodafone Cash Overdraft will help you shop life regardless. Vodafone Cash Overdraft is the latest innovation that adds to your Vodafone Cash wallet when your balance is not enough to pay for your Vodafone transactions. Just dial *110#, select option 5 to opt in. Now, let's say you won't buy 50 cedis monthly data where you get only 30 cedis for your Vodafone Cash wallet. You will get a notification saying you can access additional funds to complete your transaction. You accept the offer, done. Overdraft. Oh, say yeah.
Oh, yeah. The new Vodafone Cash Overdraft service allows you to access additional funds to complete your Vodafone Cash transaction. Be it paying for your broadband subscription, buying airtime or mobile data, or even sending money. Terms and conditions apply.
Vodafone.
But why all this laughter?
Kwaku gave me 6,000 cedis for shopping for some electrical appliances.
Yes. What about that?
I came home with exactly what he ordered, and I still had 3,000 Ghana cedis on me.
Wow. But it's only NASCO offering this promotion this season.
Of course, yes. It's NASCO. You think you are the only one who knows NASCO brings home happiness? He's been wondering why I don't ask him for money after the shopping.
That's 50% discount power. This season, a NASCO massive discount It's NASCO new promo. What are you waiting for? This season, we are offering massive discounts up to 50%. Yes, on selected items from NASCO.
Call 0242 439 437. NASCO, bring home happiness.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM, broadcasting from Adabraka in Accra. My name is Umaru, Sanda, Amadu here with Shika Caesar. Let's go to Tema now and talk about Kwame Nkrumah's Valco. Edgar Tete is a local union chairman for the workers of Valco. He's joining us on the line. Mr. Tete, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Umaru.
We'll talk about today, but let's talk about yesterday and the day before. Your people were demonstrating. What's the backstory?
It was yesterday. It doesn't include the day before. Yes, our people expressed their grievance. The problem or the challenge is that we've had enough of the retirees. So we asked them to stay away because they have overstayed their years after pension. Why are we saying that? They are becoming a burden to the company's finances. Yes, after taking whatever is due them to pension, they just return to come and take full charge of the topmost positions of the company, which in our view think that it should be positioned for the young and upcoming in the company. More so, they do not recognize the importance of human capacity. If I say human capacity, I mean the greatest asset of the company, which is the human resource. So we thought it wise that enough is enough. They should leave us and let us work. Valco is a scientific environment. It obeys principles. It is not an environment that we need the very old to come there to pour libation or do something else. That is what I mean. So yesterday, we asked them to stay away. And there is this miscommunication that yesterday we refused to work. That is a blatant lie. Some media houses have bought into this falsehood and have projected it. But I know Citi yesterday. That is why I'm telling you that yesterday we went because we ran this rotating shift, or we practice this rotating shift. At any given point in time, some workers will be off duty and others will be on duty. So we use the workers who were off duty to express our grievance. So that is it, Mr. Omar.
Yesterday, your demonstration, so you had a demonstration, but it was at the premise of your company. For how long did you do that for?
It was for 5 hours.
So it means you didn't work for 5 hours? That's what? I don't know.
Fortunately, maybe you did not hear what I said.
No, I'm saying that you said some media houses have reported that you didn't work it. I'm just saying that if you spend 5 hours working, you may have worked at demonstrating.
No. We would have been, those who demonstrated would have been at home resting.
Oh, so you demonstrated in shifts?
That's right.
I see. Okay. You said that there are people who have retired and are there. About how many people are you talking about?
The top management, they are 12.
Including which positions?
The CEO is a retiree. The human resource director is a retiree. The personnel relations director is a retiree. The head of ICT is a retiree. The head of logistics is a retiree. The head of maintenance, which we call Docks Engineering and Maintenance, DEM, we have 2 directors. They are all retirees. The head of cast house, he is a retiree. The one in charge of the store line is also a retiree.
All right. And when you say they are retirees, how long ago since they retired?
Let me mention the ages. The ages are between 64 to 68. So you can assess it yourself. At 60, you go on pension.
The president, and for that matter, the government has been extending or granting contracts to people who are retired, and this is provided under the law. At least they could have up to 65 years still working. Do you know whether or not they were not granted that special remedy, for which reason they are continuing to work?
Besides the CEO, who said it verbally, that the government has reappointed him. None of the names that I have mentioned has any document. Even the CEO's document, we are not privy to. So that is it. There should be a document to state that, yes, Mr. So-and-so has been re-engaged after pension for these number of months or these number of days. Not to talk about years. You get me right?
I get you. So you are, how many people are demonstrating against these 20-something people?
The non-management staff of Valco. We are about 500 to 600.
600 people demonstrating for the removal of 27 people.
Yes. Because they are a burden on our finances.
Have they responded to your accusations and claims at any forum?
None that I know of.
Who are you speaking with? The minister for the sector, or do you have specific people you're dealing with who are asking to solve your issues for you?
Yesterday, the RESEC big men were in the plant. The police big men from Accra were also in the plant.
So you believe your story, your message has been delivered?
Exactly. The BNI, the branch, or now NIB, sent their representatives there as well. They've been there yesterday and today.
We are told that that notwithstanding what you did yesterday, the plant itself was shut down today. Why?
It wasn't shut down today. It was shut down yesterday.
Is it still closed or has been reopened?
No, it is still closed.
Why?
Because the power to the smelter has been detached or has been cut off.
By who and why?
Good. We got the information around 5 o'clock yesterday evening that the plant will be shut down. We went to the source of power. We call it rectifier station. The personnel over there told us that they had a call, and the caller asked them to shut the plant down. And they told the caller that, no, we don't do it that way. For us to shut the plant down or reduce amperage or increase amperage, it must come from the cell lines. Because the cell lines are those who handle the cells for the electrolytic process. So they will communicate to them before they do that. So they can never do that. And then the caller dropped the call. But before then, they asked, who is speaking? And the caller said, order from above. Whoever that person is, the caller couldn't identify.
So Valco has been shut since yesterday?
Yes, please. The light went off 7:47 p.m. That is 17:47 GMT.
Is your CEO aware?
Yes.
But it's still not back on. You are still not back on.
Yes. According to one of our directors, he instructed them to do that.
What's the way forward?
The way forward is to impress upon the owners of the company, which is Ghana government, whose leader is His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the president of the state, to help us to restore the power. Because Valco is a critical national asset. Not to talk about the money we are going to spend in bringing back the cells to life, we are also losing by the hour to the state. Because we all know that Valco now is 100% Ghana's property. It is a state-owned company.
Edgar, when I mean, I know you had issues in the past. You recently resumed operations. When was that?
We reduced the operation. Yes, it wasn't recent, some 3-4 years back. It was as a result of bad material and inappropriate managerial instructions.
Will you continue to resist the stay of these people that you have listed whom you want out of the company?
Come again?
These people you want out of the company, would you continue to call for their removal? And if they are not removed, what would you do?
Please. Yes, please.
And if they are not removed, what would you do?
We will leave it to the owners of the company. We have done our best. We want the sustenance and the continual improvement of Valco as a smelter. We know that it is only company in Ghana here that is a smelter. We know that it is around Valco that evolved the integrated aluminium industry, which Mr. President is so passionate about because of the resultant effect it's going to have on the economy of Ghana.
let's leave it here. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Now, most welcome, Mr. Umaru Sanda.
I appreciate it. Mr. Edgar Tete, thank you. That's Edgar Tete, local chairman of the Valco Workers Union in Tema. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let's talk about haircuts now. Not the ones you get at the barbers, but rather the one you may get in your pocket or in your investment as a result of the IMF program. And I use the word me. But there's someone else who is not using me. That person is a minority leader. Now Shika has a story.
Right, the minority in Parliament has hinted that government will announce a haircut on some investments within the next 14 days as part of its debt restructuring measures. President Akufo-Addo, in his economic recovery speech on Sunday, assured that government does not intend to slash the returns made on investments in its negotiations with the IMF. But addressing the media, the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, insists that there will be some form of cuts in investments.
The president failed to accept responsibility. He is responsible for the sorry state of the Ghanaian economy, and he is responsible for the wrench economy, which has consequences on livelihoods. Poverty has exacerbated, cost of living have gone high, cost of doing business high. Many businesses are folding up. Some industries are now rerouting their investment into neighboring Ivory Coast and other countries because Ghana is no longer the investment haven as it should be. You heard the president state categorical that borrowing the highest in the last 50 years. What he failed to add and what he should have added is that I borrowed more than any other head of state and president in the last 50 years.
The words of Tamale South Member of Parliament and Minority Leader, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu. He's joined us on the line now. Let's speak to him. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. The president was emphatic there will be no haircut. You are also emphatic there will be haircut, and you've even gone to give it a timeline of 14 days. What do you know?
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when he addressed the nation, was only candid in one instance when he said, and to paraphrase him, our economy is in crisis. Beyond that, he failed to accept responsibility for the reckless and irresponsible borrowing. You recall that a few months ago, Genevieve of the IMF had cause to tell Ghanaians and the world that they at the IMF had no problem with any policy of government. I disagree with her, and I disagree to the extent that borrowing is a policy. How much you borrow, for what purpose you borrow, how you direct the borrowing investment is a policy. And therefore, if you have a president now tell the country that we've borrowed more than in the last 50 years, we borrowed more, where debt to GDP is currently hovering between 91 to 105% from the World Bank record by end of year 2022. When you add contingent liabilities and others, it probably points to one irresistible conclusion, that Ghana will necessarily undertake a debt restructuring plan. That debt restructuring plan will amount to some barbering of a sort. And maybe that barber will be called Sikampedede Barber. But to say emphatically that there will be no haircut, in my view, was being economical with what is should be sincere in the management of the economy. Our debt simply is not sustainable, and Ghana is debt distressed. Now, the IMF will not even ordinarily support any country which debt is not sustainable. And if you look at the numbers that the World Bank shares, unless you have a different number somewhere, our debt is hovering in the words of the World Bank around 105% of GDP. You also heard President Nana Addo say that plans are afoot for us to work towards achieving 55% debt to GDP by 2028. I ask, where will he be? He certainly is at the sunset of his presidency in the next 2 years and the wee hours of his presidency. What he promises to do in the next 2 years, he just couldn't do in the last 6 years. So these contradictions must cease somewhere, and I do not think that he has the trust of the public. My worry is that this is the first time we are seeing a president disrespect public opinion, and he does so at his own political peril and the peril of his political party. When the whole country is united that add new impetus to your government, restructure the government, reduce the size of government, and on the reduction of size of government, I mean, one of you journalists must take this matter up. How much have we saved from the 30% salary cut from the president, vice president, ministers, and others? Woefully insignificant. Those are not the type of expenditure cut that will have a telling on increase and unacceptable government expenditure. If you reduce the size of government, we probably can make some savings. If you review some policy, at this age, the president is still talking about 1G, 1F. There are about 100 districts in Ghana. You cannot boast of a single one district, one factory. This was not the promise. They are all again concentrated in Tema. He spoke about a tax exemption bill, which bill he brought in 2017, abandoned it until last session of Parliament when it was brought back. So we are in crisis. Ghanaians expected President Nana Addo to be telling them what plans he has to reduce prices of fuel, what plans he has to reduce prices of goods and services. He's blaming market women. They simply are recovering costs. I mean, this is the first time we are seeing government chase motor riders in the name of black marketing of forex. How does that soar up your forex returns when you chase people in the black market for engaging in legal or illegal forex trade? When all was well, did you chase them? There's simply something fundamentally wrong with the Ghanaian economy, and I believe that the president must accept full responsibility. Now, some of the promises he made, I mean, about companies having their forex domiciled in banks, he didn't even indicate for how long and for what period. Are they already not doing that? And then what is its consequence on the attraction of foreign direct investment into Ghana? But let me hear you. Thank you.
Yes, I was going to say that you lament the debt situation. And for critics who are observing and for people who know the law, they'll remind you that it's a House of Parliament that approves every single loan of the government. You, especially the one in the minority, which also has a boasting power now because of your hang parliament nature. You should take the blame that this is Umaru Sanda. You should take the blame, Honorable.
Umar, apologies.
Yes, it's fine.
Umar, remember, even when they brought the last 1 billion, we blocked it as a minority. I led the way. I said the debt was not sustainable. Remember, even after now, they haven't come back with the $250 million additional because I said it was expensive. That's the role I was expected to play as minority leader. Don't forget, I don't have absolute numbers. Go back to my opening remarks when Parliament started. I said there must be a ceiling to our national debt. I was even more friendly. I said, let's peg it that no president or no government will go beyond 70% of GDP. Please check the record. I have lived my talk, but I'm constrained sometimes because I just simply don't have the numbers to deal with many of those situations. So to say that the minority should be blamed, read again, even my contribution to the 2021 budget statement. Those were my words. The country is tottering at the precipice of bankruptcy, unquote. It was to send a signal to them. But they came back again with their numbers and then got those things approved. So to want to add the minority to this argument, in my view,
it's far-fetched.
Neither here nor there.
But Parliament as an institution then can be blamed for the problems of the executive.
Absolutely.
That would be a fair comment to
I
make.
agree with you.
Talking about your numbers then, you have been marshalling your numbers to remove the Minister of Finance. How far have you gone with that campaign?
Umaru Sanda, I'm invoking Article 82 of the 1992 Constitution, which gives Parliament the mandate and authority to censure a minister if the minister's performance is not above board. The performance of the current Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, leaves much to be desired. And we are proceeding further. I know that I do not have the numbers to meet the threshold of 2/3 majority, which may be about 183 votes. But I was encouraged when my colleagues on the other side of the aisle indicated that we share the same position and we're at idem on the matter. I'm not too sure they have consulted their constituents as to their next course of action. But if they consult their constituencies very well, they will stand strongly with us. I mean, anywhere in the world, you cannot run this economy aground. You cannot range this economy when even prices of salt for the first time in many years have gone up. Prices have doubled. People are struggling to live. People have lost value because their purchasing power have been eroded by unacceptable levels of inflation. And just that requires that Parliament takes action. So Umaru Sanda again is not going to be a failure of the minority, but a failure of Parliament. If we fail to act for the people of Ghana and to hold the Honorable Minister for Finance responsible.
We wish you all the best on your efforts as a House to help us get out of the economic quagmire. Thank you for speaking to us, Honorable.
Umaru Sanda, thank you very much.
That's the minority leader in the House of Parliament and MP for Tamale South, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are broadcasting from Adabraka in Accra. It's now time for the business segment on Eyewitness News, and then we have Point Blank coming up next. Please stay with us.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citibusinessnews.com. My name is Neti. Let's settle for the details. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has reiterated calls for government to review the country's investment laws. This, the association believes, will help curb the high rate of importation of goods. The association's call comes on the back of President Akufo-Addo's announcement that government will be implementing measures to reduce the country's dependence on imported goods and enhance our self-reliance as part of its Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has been speaking to Citi Business News.
We have been talking about excessive importation. We do agree with that there's too much importation in this country, and that our share, the local share, is quite negligible as compared to what the foreigners are bringing in, especially China more. So all that we are saying is that we should use our investment laws to control the excessive importation. It's as simple as that we should be able to revise our investment laws to drive these foreigners into manufacturing, agriculture, and more productive areas than that of trading. Is it too much to ask for? And this is what we are talking about. We are also saying that they don't bring in anything. The investment law just require the evidence of 1 million worth of goods, and presto, they are there trading. This is not fair to the nation. It means that they bring all these millions of dollars of goods dump here in the country, and all that they do is to exchange for the forests.
That was the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng. The Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, is cautioning the public to be on the alert for unwholesome products as they shop for Christmas. The authority has subsequently provided guidelines for consumers to avoid buying expired or unwholesome products. Here's the head of communications and public relations with the FDA, Rhoda Appiah, speaking to Citi Business News.
When you are buying any prepackaged product, you need to look, especially if it's in a tin, you need to inspect it properly. Make sure it is not bloated or there's no dent at all on it. This is important because when the can is bloated or dented, there's a likelihood that there might have been some microorganic organisms at play, because the quality might have been compromised because there is some space in it that has started. The sellers will tell them, oh, this is nothing, it's just a dent, it's just a bloat. But definitely it means that poor handling has taken place, and therefore we cannot guarantee the safety or the quality of the product when they are consumed. Again, we remind them that they will have to refrain from products that are overly exposed or like sold out under the direct sun, especially when they are liquid and all that. There is a very strong likelihood that the product itself would have gone through so much changes as a result of the heat that it's been exposed to. So the drinks, the fizzy drinks we have, the canned drinks, do not have to be in the way of the direct sun. Thirdly, we want to tell consumers to avoid products that have dates or worn out date markings. Sometimes when the dates are getting closer and all that, some sellers try to clean it up or get them a bit defaced, or they sometimes even doctor the dates. For consumers, when we see that these date markings are not clear, it's a cause for worry, and therefore they do not have to buy them.
That was the head of communications and public relations at the Food and Drugs Authority, Rhoda Appiah. The Ghana National Gas Company says it is working with its partners to ensure that the components that make up the price build-up of liquefied petroleum gas is looked at critically to ensure it does not burden consumers. This comes on the back of the hikes in the prices of goods and services despite the economic challenges confronting the country. Chief Executive Officer of the state agency, Dr. Benjamin Asante, made a revelation to the media on the sidelines of the gas challenge.
We've got two sources of LPG, one that is imported and one that actually comes from Ghana Gas. The split, I think, about 50-50. So 50% imported and then about 50% being generated at our facilities over at Atwabo. When you look at the cost, the price buildup of LPG, it is not just a commodity. It is the transportation. Of course, you have things like the LPG loading gantry, which also attracts its own cost. And we are working with our partners to make sure that each of these components of the price buildup, including even the commodity, which comes from Ghana Gas and also those who import, they are reduced. And in the not too distant future, I think we're going to see that. Remember that these are guided also by cost, general cost. But we would look at what we can do locally to reduce it even below that.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Gas Company, Dr. Benjamin Asante. Players in the hospitality industry are calling for a reduction in utility tariffs to enable them thrive under the current economic situation in the country. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission had in September increased electricity and water tariffs by about 27% and 21% respectively. This, sector players lament, is further worsening their plight as they struggle to stay afloat amid a challenging economy. Speaking to Citi Business News on the sidelines of the National Customers' Choice Awards Ghana, General Manager for Usbet Hotel, Robert Mensah, added that reviewing the utility tariff would help reduce the cost of operations of hoteliers in the country.
Strongly, we need the government to support us when it comes to the utilities. We feel that the government should be able to give us a separate rate So for hotels, when it comes to electricity rate, we should not be paying what the normal commercial rates are. There should be a special one to just keep the industry going. If you look at the fact that the industry just suffered from the COVID-19 pandemic globally, and in Ghana we're hardly hit. And then just when we are recovering, now we have difficult times. So we are trusting that the government can probably come in and say that, look, for hotels, let's give them this special rate so that they can still stay afloat, keep the workers still at post, and make sure that the industry continues to thrive.
That was the General Manager for Usbert Hotel, Robert Mensah. And that's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Nettie Linetti. Up next is Point Blank.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Stop lying to us. Stop deceiving us. He was not even close to the pole. That is why I bought this Samsung television. This football season, it is Samsung all the way.
Enjoy massive discount, up to 50% discount on selected items. Enjoy this new football season on a new Samsung television. With as big as 98 inches Samsung television, you are covered. Gas cookers, split ACs, different types of washing machines, and many more.
It don't be today. My grandfather was Samsung. My father too was Samsung. Me, myself, I be Samsung. My uncle will be Samsung.
Enjoy up to 50% discount on selected items. Go for it now. Go for Samsung. Samsung, our passion, our game.
We're sorry to interrupt this program for a breaking news story. Information reaching us is that the whole country has been thrown into a state of joy and excitement about the new look of Total Energies lubricants. Our correspondent Kwame Owusu is standing by to bring us the very latest developments. Kwame, what exactly is the situation where you are?
Emmanuel, I must say there's a huge crowd here with drivers and customers extremely excited about the new Total Energies lubricants bottle. I have with me here one of the drivers. Hello, boss.
Yes,
you are live on Quartz 202.1 FM. Tell us the reason for your joy.
My name is War, and for 10 years, I use only Total Energies lubricants for efficiency and performance of my car engine. With a new bottle, it's easier to read, carry, and pour. New bottle design and color, new label, new cap, and security features with the QR code. Massa is the same superior oil quality. Challenge, this is performance at first sight.
So you heard it right. Total Energies lubricants bottle have been entirely redesigned into a modern and premium pack to give you the best experience. Reporting live from the capital, this is Kwame Owusu.
Quartz, keep your engine younger for longer.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru, Sanda. And tonight on Point Blank, we go back to the House of Parliament where there is a demand for the removal of Ken Ofori-Atta. There are two groups in Parliament, the majority group and the minority group. The minority group wants Ken Ofori-Atta removed through a parliamentary process described or prescribed under the Constitution. The majority group also wants Ken Ofori-Atta removed, except that they want that removal triggered by the president who appointed him. Either way, there's a demand for the removal of Ken Ofori-Atta as Minister of Finance. Now, today there was a debate on the floor of Parliament. It has to do with the procedure and whether or not Ken Ofori-Atta should be given a hearing first. Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyomakin is the one who raised this issue among others, and that became a subject of a debate, and the Speaker made a decision. Let's listen to what transpired.
I wanted to come under Order 72, to draw your attention to some procedural issues so that, if possible, as a House, we could be guided by these issues when it becomes ripe for consideration. Mr. Speaker, my point is that if you look again critically at the motion, and this is a repeat application anyway, if you look critically at the motion, it contains some ex-cathedral matters. The motion paper contains some ex-cathedral matters. Mr. Speaker, these ex-cathedral matters cannot be seen to be matters grounded in fact. And upon careful perusal of the Constitution, there is a provision under the Article 82 which requires the minister to be heard in his defense. Mr. Speaker, my issue is, if the finance minister elects to bring a counsel to respond on his behalf, which is his constitutional bona fide, what do we do? Because, Mr. Speaker, under contempt proceedings, we have discussed. Yes. Mr. Speaker, they always want to divert attention. An important matter has been raised. Let's finish with that, then we can deal with ex-cathedral issues. Mr. Speaker, the question is, if the Minister of Finance elects to exercise his rights under the Constitution to employ the services of counsel, how do we treat it as a House? Mr. Speaker, it is his right and his far right. And I'm drawing our attention to it so that on the day we don't meet our cul-de-sac. Because, Mr. Speaker, under our own jurisprudence on contempt, we allow the respondent contemnor to be represented by counsel. And we have precedence in that. Because he is entitled to be heard. Right to fair hearing is a sine qua non thing. You cannot take it away from a respondent in a matter. So, Mr. Speaker, this advert here, there is good reason why the proponent of the Constitution said we should put it on notice. And it is good we've done that. Whilst it is yet to be matured, my view is, as a House, we should look at all the roadblocks and appropriately address them before the day comes. You and I are aware that even when questions are filed, and Mr. Speaker admits, upon the question being admitted, there is a transmission administratively to the minister concerned, which enables him to come. Here we are. We have mounted a serious matter essential. A serious matter essential. And the applicants have not served him, neither have they supported their motion with the basis upon which they mount the application, except to advertise some ex-cathedral matters. So all I am saying as a House, Mr. Speaker, all I am saying, I'm not going into that Mr. Speaker's ruling. This is another angle I am looking at it. The last time I didn't raise the issue of Article 14. And colleagues, let's be careful here. Today, it may be you. And you may think it's okay. But if we agree on the rules of procedure in dealing with this matter, posterity will come and judge all of us. It could be Harun Edrusu tomorrow, being a Minister of State. It could be Eric Opoku as a Minister of State in a future government. We don't know when. And Mr. Speaker, when that time comes, Eric Opoku will have a legitimate expectation that he must be heard, because constitutionally he must be heard. Mr. Speaker, I do not think that we should allow this to remain in our order paper. The 14 days come, it becomes ripe for hearing, and then on that day, people are holding their documents, and arguing, and then you expect the minister to respond for us to vote on it, which will make him lose his office? No. I believe that even as a house, we should have copies of all the grounds upon which you rely. No, Mr. Speaker, I believe that as a house, every member in this chamber must have a copy of all the legal grounds upon which you mount this application. 2, the respondent himself must be served. 3, should the respondent respond by saying that he elect to have a counsel to represent him, are we going to allow that counsel in the dispatch box, or we are going, because the counsel will come in as a stranger at the plenary, or we are going to have a closed session to hear him? These are matters that, Mr. Speaker, are very critical that we should look at, so that we don't create a certain impression that censure, as provided for in the Constitution, is a trivial matter. It is not.
The notice for the motion has been signed. We have duly signed it. The motion shall be debated in Parliament within 14 days. Mr. Speaker, I have between today and 10th November to move the motion, and I will move the motion. I will move the motion for the censure of the Honourable Minister for Finance, Honourable Ken Ofori-Atta. Those like-minded persons who will dance with us, Mr. Speaker, they will be welcome in the secret ballot. I told the majority leader that I can understand his situation. He is confronted with the witches' dance. If he dances forward, the mother dies. He goes backward, the father dies. He himself knows that the Honourable Minister for Finance is not performing and cannot perform and cannot deliver us out of the economic woes. But the witches' dance, he doesn't want to be seen trying to torpedo the man to act as Minister for Finance. But we may get there. He will go, and someone will act. I've asked him. He says commitment that the man will go after budget and he will go after IMF. Do you know when the IMF negotiations will end? And after budget, we know 31st December. Bring a formal commitment. Bring a formal commitment telling this House that the Honourable Minister for Finance will, by 31st December, bow out in conscience that he has trashed the Ghanaian economy. But, Mr. Speaker, as for this motion, I am determined so long as I live and I'm alive. And I've issued a 9-line whip 3 times 3. All my members, even if we are defeated on this motion, we will be defeated in honor and in dignity, standing with the Ghanaian people who are suffering the economic mismanagement and the economic incompetence of Ken Ofori-Atta. Ordinarily, he should not even wait for this House to censure him. Ordinarily, gallantly home. Even salt, the price of salt have gone up, Mr. Speaker, salt. Mr. Speaker, so Speaker ruled, and I think that we should stand by the Speaker's ruling. As for Deputy Leader, I have good intelligence on you. Ask Leader. When I frighten him small at business committee, you people somersaulted. You somersault again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The minority leader, that once the Speaker has admitted a motion, it is a competent motion before the House. I would have thought that such motions would pass through the usual channels, the business committee, for us to program same. But the business committee doesn't do anything about it. It appears somebody is sitting somewhere and directing affairs, that this should go to some unseen hand. But, Mr. Speaker, I agree with him that it is a competent motion before the House. And in the fullness of time, whatever must be done to it will be done to it. Mr. Speaker, the minority leader is insistent that where we are in a witch's dance. If we dance forwards, we may lose our father. If we dance backwards, we may lose our mother. Mr. Speaker, who tells him that we cannot dance laterally or horizontally without going forward or coming backwards? Who tells him that? He must define his coordinates well. To the extent that we have a backwards dance and a forward dance, there's a lateral dance and a horizontal dance. You must be aware of that. Mr. Speaker, the minority leader is saying that he wants some assurance that maybe the finance minister may leave on the 31st of December. And if he has that assurance, he may think that it may not then be necessary to pursue this. It's a window of opportunity that is creating. Mr. Speaker, we are in dialogue, we are talking, we are trying to see the best way forward. And so we continue to dialogue. Having said so, Mr. Speaker, I think the point, and let me admit that we are not there yet, that is beginning the debate on this. If I heard the deputy leader well, is raising a principle and indeed a fundamental issue that yes, as the minority leader is indicating, per Article 82 of the Constitution, the motion shall be debated in Parliament within 14 days after the receipt by the Speaker of the notice of the motion. And 4 says a Minister of State in respect of whom a vote of censure is debated under clause 3 of this article is entitled during the debate to be heard in his defense. And he's saying that if the minister elects to be represented by a council, what happens? Because that council cannot be heard in plenary. I think it's the issue that is raising. The Speaker, you would juxtapose this with the provision in Article 69, Clause 7 of the Constitution, which is on the removal of the president. Now, in respect of that, 69 Clause 7 provides that is, if a motion should come to Parliament for debate against the President. There, the Constitution provides the President shall be entitled during the proceedings of the tribunal or the medical board to be heard in his defense by himself or by a lawyer or other expert or person, as the case may be. That is, you are talking about, the motion having been occasioned by health considerations. But if it has to be, before any commission, the president must be heard and be heard by himself or by a lawyer. Mr. Speaker, indeed, Article 12 of the Constitution also provides, and 12.1 says, the fundamental human rights and freedoms enshrined in this chapter, fundamental human rights, including the right to be heard, and the right to be heard by the person himself or through a lawyer. 12.1 says, the fundamental human rights and freedoms enshrined in this chapter shall be respected and upheld by the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So we are bound. We are bound to accord this right to anybody who is accused. That is the point that's being made by the deputy leader. So it's a distinction with a difference. And I thought that should be registered. The Speaker, but I'm aware that the Speaker has already given a direction on this, that you should stand this down, I think, until he returns. And he's coming on the 9th, and it's been programmed for us to make progress on this on the 10th. Let's wait until the Speaker comes. However, there are matters that are very germane that should concern all of us. That's the point being raised by the Deputy Majority Leader. And I think
it contains profound sense that indeed should offer itself to us for consideration. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Majority Leader, for your submission. Of course, I appreciate your advocacy. But the issue regards to the essential motion has already been discussed. At that time, last week, I was here when you raised these same issues, and Mr. Speaker ruled that the motion was proper. So I think there's nothing, you yourself even say you are not raising this issue to reverse what Mr. Speaker has said. So I think we will patiently wait till the motion matures and see what unfolds that day.
So that's the decision of the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andrew Siamamwako, upholding an earlier ruling of the Speaker of Parliament, Abansumana Kingsford Bagbin, on the vote of censure motion that has been brought before the House by the minority seeking to remove the Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta. That's how we end tonight's edition of Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. Production by Sixtus Don Ulo, Beverly London, and Fred Tete Jaban, as well as Ni Lati Lati. We return tomorrow at 17:30 GMT with the latest in the world of news here on 97.3 Citi FM. The technical support came through from Daniel Squashy. Have a good night.